So in the last video, I showed you how to use Blackboard Ultra, create groups and an assignment so that they can get some collaborative functions. So for example, if there's 4 people in a group, they would have a private space to share files, put notes, links, etc., and have a conversation asynchronously. If you're looking for more synchronous communication within a group and sharing of files, I would suggest using Microsoft Teams. So everybody has Teams here at Seneca. Open up Teams either through your Office 360 in your email, the top left corner, or just go to the Teams app. Now, usually you would see something like this, a bunch of teams that you're already a part of, or you might come in and it'll be an activity list like this, and that's okay, don't worry. Just go up to the left and click on Teams. And if you don't see all of your teams, then just click on all teams over here. And don't worry if you're not part of 5, 6 different teams. You might only be part of 1 or 2, your faculty team, right? So first thing we'll do is click Create Team on the top right. And we want to create a class team. Now, right here, class team. We're going to click on it. And the idea is you're going to have one team for each section of a course. Within that team, you're going to have different channels, one for each group, okay? So I'll just make one up here, SCM 800 ZZZ, and I could put a little description here if I wish. Click Next. And it creates a team. Now it says search for students. So what you can do, 2 things, okay? And this is sort of, in my experience, hit and miss, and you might need to speak to ITS, the IT department, to get the class list. But sometimes you type in your course code and the entire class comes across, okay? Now, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but if you can do that, fine, great. Just make sure all your students are in. If not, what you have to do is type individual student emails. So if you downloaded emails from Ultra, you have them in Excel, you can just copy and paste each one like this and it will show it to you. And then you click add. I mean, you can click add after you find a whole bunch of different people. For example, I could find, just by first name as well. So once you create a whole bunch of people within your team, and I'll just populate this here, I'll just put a few random people, okay? Let's search for something with the B, like that, okay? So we add, your class will be here, okay? No problem. So let's close this. And there we go. So this is your general class page. You can go over to the left, edit your home page. So for example, you could customize this page for, you could put a creative banner here, add some files that are relevant to the class, and change a few things up over here. I mean, we're not running a class on here. We have Blackboard Ultra for it, so don't spend too much time, right? But on the left-hand side, what we want to do under channels, we want to add more channels. So general is your whole class, okay? But if you click on these 3 dots up here, you can now add a channel. And a channel is for each group. So the first one, I'll call it Group 1. And again, you want to put a description, go ahead. But this is important. The privacy must be set to private, so that only group members in that group have access to these resources, right? So let's click Create. And now you search for the names of the people that you want to put in. So for example, I had a few people in there. I can search, maybe search for that other person. And the good thing is if you know your class, then of course you will be able to pick and choose all of your students within that class, right? But it can only find people that are within your class, okay? So if they don't exist within your class, they're not going to show up. So I found 2, fine, a group of 2, add, there we go, and done. So now what happens is you've got Group 1, right? And be careful, if you delete Group 1, you pretty much can't use that name again, so be careful with your naming. Let's say I have 4 or 5 groups for my class. Communicate to your students that when they go into their teams, they will have access to the group. Now, what I do recommend, because you see, if I go to the Group 1 and I do Manage Channel, you will show up as the owner and your guests are showing up here. So you can now, if you had another professor within the course, you can actually make them the owner as well. Now, what will they have access to? Well, each group, when they click on it, they can now do posts, like a new conversation. They can add files just for their particular group, upload, they can edit files here, they can do all sorts of stuff. So if 4 people are editing one document, yes, you can do that, right? And the other thing they can do, and this is the only real reason to come to Teams in the first place, so you can actually have a video meeting or an audio meeting with your group. Okay, so play around with that, and what it will show up as, let me show you, is each class will show up like this.